Okay, really excited to be able to introduce Coach Nansen to everybody today. It's been a crazy week of recruiting, and you guys are going to ask me questions, which I'm going to tell you I can't answer, about who we saw and how things are going. But the answer is that things have been going great on the recruiting trail. Very excited about the way the roster is shaping up and how things are going. There obviously a lot of things are a work in progress. I think I was told there's over 500 people that have gone on the transfer portal since Monday, which is just outrageous, and that is just in FBS programs alone. So, and I think it's over 350 in Power 5 alone of guys that have gone into the portal, and that's just since Monday. So it is wild and crazy in that regard. In terms of today, though, we'll talk again on December 15th at signing day, and we'll go through the entire group, everyone that's signed, everything that's happening roster-wise on the 15th. We'll get you a time for that, but we will do it as quickly as early in the day as we can. I don't want you guys to have to read about the guys we signed after the fact. So as early as we can get you guys the information on everyone that sent their NLIs in, almost called it NILs, NLIs in, we will get that done. But today is about Coach Nansen. Today is about the opportunity for us to introduce to you our defensive coordinator, who I am thrilled to be able to introduce to our players, to our recruits, and to the University of Arizona and to our fans and supporters. I think that we were able to get exactly who I wanted to get. As I mentioned when we first spoke about it, I had certain things that I was looking for. I wanted to have an elite recruiter, somebody that understood the landscape of the West Coast and national recruiting. Most importantly, understood the Pac-12 and what you need to get in here to win games. That was the first priority of mine. Secondly, someone that understood the scheme that I wanted to run, which was a pro-style defense, very similar to what we do on offense. Someone that's been around guys like Pete Carroll's system, someone that's been around guys like Dan Quinn's system, like we saw yesterday when Dallas got 4 takeaways and are already at 21 interceptions in 12 games, which is a dream. That will become a reality, okay? That will become a reality. Someone that emphasizes development of players, someone that's been played in the Pac-12, coached in the Pac-12, and then one of the other prerequisites that I mentioned to all of you was someone that has held titles like assistant head coach, pass game coordinator, or run game coordinator, someone that's been special teams coordinator, coached on all phases of the ball, whether that be coached running backs, was a special teams coordinator at USC, University of Washington, coached Bishop Sankey at Washington, and then obviously coached linebackers, coached defensive line. We need to get our run defense to where UCLA got theirs. And that was a huge part of what I wanted to get accomplished. I feel like I hit a home run, and I'm very happy about that, to be able to get Coach Nansen here. It's really something that we talked probably last year when I got this job about the opportunity. We talked a few years prior to that when I interviewed for it the first time when he was at USC and I was leaving UCLA. So the idea of getting Coach Nansen here is awesome for our program and for our kids. So for that, I will introduce Coach Nansen.
Thank you, guys. This is unbelievable. I'm blessed. I'm honored to be here. I'm grateful for Coach for giving me the opportunity to be here at Arizona. This has been a long journey for me to be in this position. I'm excited about it. My wife, Holly, and my family, my son, JJ's over there. He's fired up to be here. Arizona, to me, is a very special place. I understand being in the Pac-10 and being in the Pac-12, coaching and playing. This has always been one of those places you look at and you go, you know what? It's a special place because they, not only from the fans, the community here is very supportive of what Coach is trying to accomplish here, and the brand of football that they have. I think it's a powerful logo that we have to sell it. The university is powerful. They're just looking for us to bring the right attitude and determination to the program. And I think coaches has set a standard, which I believe in. The one thing when he called me and his vision and his belief in what it takes to turn this thing around was something that really was, intriguing to me. And I was excited about it because, at Washington, kind of remind me of this program. It took us 5 years to turn the thing around, but the thing about it was the energy that we brought to the place, the belief that the kids had in us as coaches. We started off there at 5-7. They didn't win a game before we got there. The second year, we went to a bowl game. They haven't been in a bowl game in 10 years. When we left there, we were 9-4, and that was a big accomplishment for the program there. And I'm hoping that we could bring that attitude to Arizona. I love the kids that I talked to. They're all for it. They want to win. A couple of guys came up. It was awesome today. So I'm excited to be here. Coach is fired up. We've been on the road with him. His mission, his vision for the program is big time. We're fired up as a family and to be here. So as far as football is concerned, my belief is everything starts with the football. Everything that we do is to attack the football. Every call is to attack the football. And that's if you win the turnover battles, I think you'll win the games. Your chances of winning games are pretty damn high. Stopping the run is one thing that we need to work on. And I think recruiting the right people to come in this place, we got to do a great job of teaching how to stop the run. And then the other thing is we just got to tackle well, and play fast, and that's our job as coaches to make sure we teach that to our kids and show it to them. So I'm excited. I know the kids are excited, and I'm looking forward to get started and get after people.
Questions? Go ahead, Jeff. So after you were officially offered the job, what have you thought about it? What was the ultimate deciding factor?
It was easy. The guy right next to me, his belief in his mission, the big picture. He knew what it was going to take to turn this thing around. And then obviously, this place, I think it's a special place. You look at the history of this place. You got unbelievable players that played here before me. Before I got here, just looking from outside the Desert Storm, it was my time. The way they played the game was violent and physical. So that was one thing that I want to make sure I bring to Arizona.
Rich.
Coach, welcome to Tucson. Can you talk a little bit about your background on both sides of the ball, how this is going to help set you up as a defensive coordinator, and a follow-up to that as well? You built a reputation as a recruiter, especially in the Pacific 12 footprint, and particularly with the Polynesian community. Can you talk about your ties and what you want to help bring here to Tucson?
Yeah, first of all, obviously, I started off as a defensive guy. Been doing that, as far as coaching the secondary, coaching the D-line, coaching linebackers. And then when I moved to Washington, I started off coaching the D-line there and special team, obviously. I made a decision to move to the offense because I thought it would make me a better coach. When you move on that side of the ball and the way you teach the game is totally different now, because I understand how offensive coaches are thinking. I understand how they prepare. So that, to me, was something that I really wanted to study. And it made me a better coach once I moved over to defense. Special team has prepared me to speak in front of the team because really you have the heartbeat of the team there. So that has prepared me to this point now, to address the team, address our players, make them believe, because really what your job is as a coach, when you really look at it, you are really, one, you got to remind these guys what to do and how to do it. And then second, you got to motivate these kids. And that's the biggest thing that I enjoy coaching, because that's what our job is. So as far as recruiting is concerned, I grew up in Long Beach, California. I went to Washington State. I have a lot of ties in that area, especially in LA. And then obviously Hawaii, in the Northwest. So my relationship and ties are all in those areas. So it makes it easier for us. And I understand the landscape of recruiting. I also understand how important it is, the Polynesian pipeline here, with George Malauulu, with George Javier, and so many other players that came here. So it's important to me to continue to build that. But also at the same time, you got to take the right kids, the kids that fit in the program and the vision of what coach have. So I'm excited to continue to do that, and I'm excited, to get started.
Greg, when you heard Don Brown left, were you proactive in reaching out to Jedd?
Yeah, a little bit. But I was focused on finishing our season at UCLA. So as soon as after the season, coach reached out, and that's when we start talking. And then from there, he told me exactly what he was looking for. And so I said, man, you know what? This is a great opportunity. Let's go do this thing together. We got a great staff here that believes in what his vision is. And so I was excited. So when Don left, that opened up the door to take over. And I'm excited about the opportunity.
You crossed paths with Jedd before?
Yeah, I mean, I played against him when he was at UCLA. Hard man to prepare for. So, and, obviously we have mutual friends, and, I know his time with the Seahawks when we used to go down there and visit. And then when the Patriots come over, I would talk to him a little bit about just, football and life in general.
Jason, you were named Pac-12 Recruiter of the Year, but you did that while you were at USC. Some league is not quite. It's a little more challenging to recruit in Arizona. What do you see as the differences between recruiting USC and recruiting Arizona?
I don't think there's a difference. I think it's a mindset. I'm not afraid to compete against those, big schools. I think if you have that mindset, I think that makes you a unique recruiter. For example, I had a first-round draft pick at Idaho, Mike Upati. Played in the league for 11 years, was a Pro Bowler 5 years. I mean, I think it's a mentality that you got to have in order for you to become a great recruiter. The relationship that you develop with the kids and their parents is what I really enjoy. And then on top of that is the ability to develop. I think that's the biggest thing, that they trust in you, that you could develop them and take them to where they need to go. And, so to answer your question, there's no difference. My approach is going to be the same way I did at USC. I want to go after the big players, because players, when it comes down to it, it's the players. I could sit up here and say, you know what, I got all these great calls, but if you don't have the players to run those calls, it doesn't matter.
Time for a couple more. We'll go Troy.
Coach, so how much was that a factor in terms of Nansen's ability to go get those big players and not being afraid to recruit them, wanting you to bring them in here and not back in Arizona?
Well, obviously, it is about players. I mean, I couldn't have said that more. I believe in that 1,000,000% that when you have great players, you have great teams. And it was about, for us, this is our first recruiting class. This coming class will be the first group of players we signed. As you all know, I was hired after signing day last year. I know that this class and the next class will determine the fortunes of University of Arizona football for years to come. The idea to get somebody that I know is one of the best elite recruiters in this area was a huge part of it. But the other part of it that was so important to me was what Coach Nansen was just talking about. One of the things that when you talk to Coach Belichick about what's most important is guys that have known how to coach both sides of the ball. I started as a defensive quality control coach for Dom Capers and Vic Fangio. Spent 3 years on the defensive side of the ball. I was John Hoke's defensive GA before I moved over to offense. When you learn the other side of the ball, it is a huge benefit when you're game planning and when you're talking to your players. So the idea of being able to hire somebody that A, is an elite recruiter that understands talent acquisition and development, and then B, somebody that understands both sides of the ball and has been able to do it at a high level. I mean, look at the success Bishop Sankey had at Washington, not just coaching him, but the success he had. That's what we were looking for, and that's why I was so fortunate to be able to land Coach Nansen here.
Last two are Justin and Jason.
So when you were a player at Washington State, what was it like playing against Arizona?
Well, really, there was two defenses in the league at that time. One was the Palouse Posse, and one was the Desert Storm, if you guys remember. It was exciting playing and watching them because when these guys play, they were nasty and physical, and they had fun doing it. And that's my vision in this place here. We could do that here. You know what I mean? I want to be able to bring that back. But it's going to take time. We're going to have to go out and recruit. But it was just a joy to watch those guys. You know what I mean? And it was a great group of guys that you could tell they gelled together and they love one another and they play their tails off. And that's what I want to make sure I bring here.
And in terms of a defensive scheme, what are you planning on bringing here?
Just like Coach was alluded to, very similar to what the Seahawks are doing. Dan Quinn is doing in Dallas, the Tampa Bay. So we're going to be over and under front, play some cover 3, cover 2, man free. There's a little bit of, very similar to what Don was doing a little bit. I like to pressure a little bit more to keep offenses, keep them, balanced and things like that. And to just make sure our guys play hard, man. When you turn on the tape, I want you to say 3 things. 1, we're tough. 2, they're a physical bunch of guys. And 3, we play fast because our scheme is going to allow our guys to play fast. And it's a fun brand to have.
And then lastly for me, how do you envision the communication amongst the other defensive coaches in terms of the play calling?
I think that's the one thing that that I'm going to have to do a great job is to teach the coaches to teach the players. And I think I could do that. I know I could do that. Been doing it now for a long time. But at the same time, I got to look at what we have. We can't force feed things if we don't have the right personality to do it. So we're going to try to keep it simple to allow our guys to play.
Last one, Jason.
What has the last week been like for you and then the next week or 2 in terms of recruiting, having to transition recruiting for Arizona and kind of hit the ground?
Yeah, that was fun. Monday I had a different shirt. Wednesday I had a different shirt. And then Coach called me, hey, you got to get on the road. So I was with Coach yesterday. That was a lot of fun. But, now I'm all in. We got a couple of kids here. And then next week will be a big week before signing day. So we got to go to work.